welcome back everybody. We again will discuss or we will continue our discussions on the applications of first law to an open system or to a control volume. And so far whatever examples we have looked into, like compressors or the water heater in the previous class, that was all of them were steady state devices. So, the devices operated under steady state conditions. So, this we will end this chapter by looking into one example of unsteady flow system, or a control volume where conditions are changing with time, or rather an open system where the conditions can change with time. So, we will look into an example of such a very simple example of such a system, and we will finish this chapter after discussing that example. Okay. So, the topic of this lecture will again be application of first law to control volumes. But today we will discuss unsteady open systems, or unsteady, well, let us call it unsteady open systems. So, unsteady open systems typically would mean that somewhere inside the control volume the properties are changing with time. So, this property might mean that the velocity, for example, might change with time, the pressure might change with time, temperature might change with time. So, any of the thermodynamic state properties that we have looked into so far, any of those properties might change with time inside the control volume or inside the open system. So, we will take a very simple example that demonstrates this idea. So, let us say that, so let us consider a practical example which has some application. So, let us say that you have a pipe running like this. So, this is the pipe that is running, and let us say that from this pipe there is a So, connected to this pipe is there is a valve, which this valve connects to another tank like this, let us say. So, this is a tank. Let us consider the tank to be insulated for the time being. So, this is an insulated rigid tank. So, this is rigid insulated tank. Okay. And this pipe, suppose this is a pipeline which through which suppose hot steam flows, or this can also be any other hot fluid. For the time being, let us consider it to be hot steam. So, this is hot water or hot steam. Okay. So, so you know what happens here. Initially, if this tank is completely empty, this valve is suppose closed. So, no steam, the steam will not be able to enter the tank. So, initially this tank will be empty, and suppose at some point of time you want to fill this tank because you might want to use you might want to store this hot steam to use it later for some other purpose. So, what you do is you open up the valve, and as a result the steam from this pipeline, it will enter the rigid tank, this tank, and it will be stored. So, in the process, the mass of steam inside the rigid tank will grow, and after some times you can just close the valve to stop any further inflow of steam, and that at that point of time you can assume that the tank is completely filled with steam, and I mean you can fill this tank up to a mass of steam as you desire, right. So, you might want a lot of steam inside the rigid tank. You can open this, keep this valve open for a long time. If you want a little bit of steam, you can keep it open for a short time, but anyway the point is that you open it for some time, and then you fill in the steam, and then you close the valve. So, we want to see we want to quantify the change of state or the thermodynamic change that is occurring inside this rigid tank in the process. Okay. So, initially the tank is empty, now you open the valve, steam comes in, after some times you close the valve, obviously the states inside the tank is changing because of steam flowing in. We want to quantify that change, and we can do that using the first law of thermodynamics and conservation of mass. Right. So, we will not try to make our analysis very complicated. So, let us take some make some assumptions right away, which will simplify the analysis. I just want to show you, I just want to show you the concept of how to apply the first law that we have discussed to such unsteady systems. So, by the way, you should realize that this system is definitely unsteady, this open system. So, if I consider this tank, rigid tank as my system, let us say this is the rigid tank. Okay. This if I consider as my system, or this if I consider as a control volume, then you can understand that this is definitely unsteady in this particular process, because initially if you measure the density of steam here, the density will be 0, there was no steam initially, and finally there will be some amount of steam present here, which means the density has changed. So, the thermodynamic properties have changed inside the control volume, which is why this is an example of an unsteady open system. This is open because obviously you are letting mass in, right, although there is no outlet. Okay. So, so again let us make some very simple some simplifying assumptions. The first thing is that so I will maybe write it down in shorthand notation. So, first we will assume that there is no heat input. So, Q dot C V is 0, there is no heat interaction with the tank and the surroundings. Okay. This you can make sure by insulating the tank. Okay. Second, there is no work interaction. So, W dot C V equal to 0. So, this steam is coming in and then not doing anything, you are not doing anything with the steam while you are filling the tank. Okay. There is no electrical work that you are supplying, no shaft rotating, nothing. Okay. This tank is rigid, it is not expanding. So, there is no non flow work that is being done by the control volume. So, this is 0. Also we will assume that inflow conditions, or rather maybe before that I should write one inlet but no outlet, obviously you can see that that is true here, and we will assume that steady inlet conditions, So, what this means is that when I open the valve, the steam that comes into the tank, has the pressure and temperature same as that of the steam flowing in the pipe. Okay. And we are assuming that the conditions in the pipe is not changing, and we are also assuming that by opening the valve and this storing the steam here, you are not changing the conditions in the pipes appreciably, right, which indicates that the inflow conditions do not change throughout the process. So, from your opening of the valve till the closing of the valve, throughout the process the inlet conditions do not change, because this inlet is connected to the supply line, and the conditions there are not changing. So, the steam that is coming in has the, or is in the thermodynamic state as that in the supply line. So, that seems to be a reasonable assumption here. So, with all these assumptions, let us try to see how we can apply the laws of first law of thermodynamics and the conservation of mass to quantify the change that is occurring inside the control volume. Okay. So, the first thing is conservation of mass. So, mass conservation. So, mass conservation is very simple. I will write dm Cv dt. See, now I am talking about an unsteady open system, which is why I have to write the entire equation or entire mass conservation equation, right. So, this was, you might remember, sum over I m dot I minus sum over E m dot E. This is the net mass flow in, this is the mass flow out, the difference is the rate of change of mass flow, the rate of change of mass in the control volume. Now, here we understand that this is 0, there is no outlet, and there is only one inlet, that is the mass that is coming in through the valve. So, let us call this, in fact, let us call this part I, okay. So, that is the inlet. So, this here, this I can drop the summation over sign and I can write it like this, and in fact, I can also erase this. So, you can see that what I finally have is dmCV dt is equal to mi dot. So, it is basically saying that the rate of change of mass inside the control volume is same as the rate rate at which the steam is entering the tank, okay. But remember that these are two different quantities. So, this is the rate of change of mass of the control volume or of the stuff inside the control volume, in this case the stuff happens to be steam, and this is the rate of mass flow or the mass flow rate. So, this is like if you take a cross section in a pipe, you calculate at what rate the steam is crossing that section, okay. So, these two are physically different things, although they have the same units, and here you can see that these two are equal. What I can do is I can integrate and I can write, I can integrate this equation over time, and I can write probably mCV equal to the total mass that has come in. So, I will write that as integral mi dot dt. This is the, so let us say from 0 to time t, this can be, this I will just write mi, okay. So, that means that so this is the integral of the mass flow rate in, which means if you integrate the mass flow rate over time, you get how much total mass has flown in, right, and that is nothing but equal to the mass that is inside the control volume, because you started with 0 mass. That is number 1, let us number it number 1. Now, let us move to the first law. So, first law is dE dt of the system or the control volume. This is control volume, or let me write it as system, open system is equal to q dot Cv minus w dot Cv plus, let us assume one inlet and one outlet only, m dot I h I plus half v I square plus g z I minus m dot E h E plus half v E square plus g z E. So, now we had to, so remember that for steady flow devices, this left hand side was 0, but now this will be non-zero, because clearly initially there was nothing inside the tank. So, there was, so the energy of the tank was 0, but after you have filled in the tank with steam, obviously there will be some the energy content of the tank will not be 0, right, it will be the energy of the steam itself. So, obviously E has changed. So, dt of E is not 0, is non-zero. So, what I can do is maybe I should write this as control volume also, I think that is just to be consistent with the notation. So, we now let us go term by term. So, this is 0 as we have assumed, this is 0 because there is no heat exchange, this is 0 because there is no non-flow work being done, this is 0 because there is no outlet, and what we can do is again we can neglect the changes in kinetic and potential energies, okay. So, this is this this particular feature will be very common throughout, where we will generally neglect. So, it is not 0. So, these are neglected, because the kinetic and potential energies of the steam that is coming in will be far small as compared to the enthalpy. Okay. So, you can safely neglect these things. So, then let us see what is left. So, then I am left with dE dt of the control volume is equal to m dot I times Hi, that is it, right. All these are neglected, this is 0, this is just m dot I Hi. Now, what I can do is I can just integrate this over time, and so this, let me also write the E, what is E here. So, E is nothing but the mass of the control volume times, so mCV, which is a function of t here, time here, times the internal energy of the control. So, let me okay, let me just write it this way. So, this is mCV times the internal energy of the control volume plus the kinetic energy of the control volume plus the potential energy of the control volume. Again, you can see that you can neglect these kinetic and potential energies of the tank. So, we will just neglect this right away, these are not important here. These are not important as far as this particular example is concerned. So, the total energy of the control volume at any time will be m dot Cv at that time times u at that time. This is the yeah, let us call it u at that time. U is the specific internal energy of the steam inside the tank. This would mean the specific internal energy, or at any time this would be the specific internal energy of the steam that is inside the tank. Okay. So, what I can do is I can now integrate this equation in time, and I will write, so integral 0 to t dE dt dt, this is control volume, is equal to integral, this is visible, right, okay, 0 to t m dot I Hi dt. Now, what I can do is, see, if I come back to our assumptions, we have assumed that the inlet conditions remain steady, the inflow conditions are steady. So, that means the state or rather the steam that is coming in to the tank, the thermodynamic state of that steam does not change over time, right, which is, I mean, of course, this the state will depend on what state there is in the supply line, and if the supply line is not changing, then the thermodynamic state of the steam here will not change, which means if I now come back to this integral, this means that this Hi is not changing with time, okay, because of steady inlet conditions. So, I can pull this out of the integral, put it outside. So, this I can write as Hi integral 0 to t m dot I dt, which we have done in equation 1. If you look at equation 1, we have done that here, and we can see that this integral of mi dot over time is nothing but mCV, the mass of the total mass of the control volume. So, this just becomes mCV at time t. Okay. Similarly, the right hand side, sorry, the left hand side is easy to evaluate. This is just E t, or E of control volume at time t minus E of the control volume at time 0. E of the control volume at time 0 is just 0, because there was nothing in the control volume, and E of the control volume at time t is nothing but this. Remember again that we have neglected the kinetic and potential energy of the control volume of the steam inside the control volume, which is a reasonably good approximation, because they are usually very small. And by the way, if the steam is not moving inside the control volume, if it is stationary, the kinetic energy will be exactly 0 of the steam. Even if it were moving, that energy of that will be far small as compared to the internal energy of the steam. So, this term I can just write as mCV at time t times u at time t. Okay. All right. So, then what I get is I can finally reconcile all of this, and I can write, maybe I can write here. So, the first law now tells me that mCV t u of t at time t is equal to, so here this is mCV t again, because this is integral over m dot mi dot over time. So, this is times h I. Remember that h I is constant, it is not changing with time. Okay. So, I can cancel out m dot C V from both sides. So, what I have finally is u of the, at any time point of time u is equal to the u, that means the internal energy of the steam that is inside the control volume is equal to the enthalpy of the steam that is coming in. Okay. So, if I stop let us say at time or rather if I call this let us say u final, maybe u final, then so this is the internal energy of the steam after you have stopped the process. So, then u final will be equal to h I. Okay. That means the final internal energy of the steam is equal to the enthalpy of the steam that is flowing into the tank. Okay. So, this can be very misleading, this expression can be very misleading. So, you should keep in mind what exactly is happening here. What exactly is happening is that there is some steam that is coming into the tank, and if you ask the question, and by the way this tells you how much energy is there finally inside the tank after you have stopped the process. So, obviously, the energy that will be there in the tank after you have stopped the process will be the energy that the steam has brought in, right. So, what is the energy that the steam has brought in? Well, obviously, it has brought in the internal energy itself, right. So, the steam that is flowing in the supply line, that has some internal energy. So, it will definitely bring in that internal energy which is included in h I, but along with that, so remember this h I has the expression u I plus P I V I, small v I, we know what these notations mean. So, this energy obviously the steam has in the supply line, this will, and this, when the steam enters the tank, it will bring in this energy. On top of that, for entering the tank, just for entering the tank, the steam in the supply line was doing some work on the steam that is in the control volume, right. When the steam was entering the control volume at the inlet to the tank, just to push the steam inside the tank, the steam that is flowing in the supply line will be doing some work on the control volume or on the steam that is inside the control volume. That work is this work, that is just the flow work, right, to sustain the inflow of the steam. So, obviously, that flow work, this is work being done on the control volume, right, this is work being done on the steam inside the tank, which means this work has to show up somewhere, right, as some form of energy, this work has to show up, and we can see from here that this flow work that the steam in the supply line has done on the control volume on the tank shows up as the internal energy of the steam that is inside the tank, right. So, it adds to that work that is being done, the flow work that is being done, it enhances the internal energy of the steam which is there in the tank finally. Okay. So, that is the interpretation of, it is just one interpretation of this relation. Do not take it as like writing on the wall, because you should remember all the assumptions which were there, which went in I will not repeat them because there are just too many assumptions. I would just ask you to go, I will just ask you to rewind the lecture and again go through or see the part where the assumptions were discussed. I would right, because there are just too many assumptions, and so any of the assumptions, if any of these assumptions are not valid, the formula that we have written or the expression that we have written will not be valid. So, you should really keep that in mind. So, this was an example to show you how you can treat unsteady processes or unsteady devices using first law and conservation of mass.